Okay, we're solving inequalities. Clear that off. Okay. The first type of problem is where you would use a number line to show your solution. Inequalities have more than one solution. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can divide both sides by 3, or which we can do that right away. Or you can multiply that 3 throughout that, distribute that 3, but this is a simpler way. 18 divided by 3 is 6. And then I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. And x is greater than 0. Now to plot this on the number line, we're going to pretend that line is straight. There's my 0. Greater than 0, numbers that are bigger than 0, we're going to shade this way. Okay? So that's how you show that one on a number line. Now the second one is the same type of question. So we have 4 times x plus 9 is less than or equal to x minus 6. It's variables on one side, so I'm going to move my variables over here and my constants over here. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And 4x minus x is 3x plus 9 less than or equal to minus 6. And now I'm going to subtract 9 from each side. And I get 3x is less than or equal to negative 15, because negative 6 minus 9, or negative 6 plus negative 9 is negative 15. Divide both sides by 3, and x is less than or equal to a negative 5. Now on this one, I forgot. You have to put an open circle because it's greater than. That means it does not include 0. But in this one, it's less than or equal to 5. So it includes the 5. So we're going to draw our number line. And I'm going to put my negative 5 here. Closed circle because of this equal sign up under there. And then I'm going to shade. Think of your thing as an arrow. So I'm going to shade it this way. Okay. Now the next type, we need graph paper. We're going to, and it's just basically a line. I'm going to make my line a little bit thicker so we can see it, and I'm going to change color. So my equation is y is less than or equal to 2x minus 3. Now we're going to graph this just like we normally graph a line using our slope and intercept. So our y-intercept is a negative 3. So I'm going to put that dot there. And my slope is 2. So I'm going to up 2 and over 1. And since I'm using this board, I'm going to put another point. You only need 2 points for a line. So now, how do we draw our line? Since it's less than or equal to, since we have that equal sign, we're going to use um, a solid line. Okay, so I'm going to use the line tool here. You can use a ruler and draw my line. So I'm just trying to make sure my line is, and you need to draw it to cover the whole graph, but this thing limits me, so I'm gonna, yeah, I knew it's gonna mess that up. Okay. So now here's our line, and we can just imagine that our line is continuing on off our page. I'm gonna go try to do that a little bit. And now, since my formula is, let me write it again because I lost it. Less than or equal to 2x minus 3. So when it's leaning this way, less than is over on this side. So you would just shade it in this way. You would draw your line a little straighter than what I did. Okay, and then we're going to shade it this way. Because when you have a linear inequality, it's everything over here in this section. So if we would just continue to shade to the left of our line, that's less than, and over here is greater than, but we're going to shade it over here. Okay. Let me do another one. This one is y is greater than x minus 2. So my y-intercept is there at negative 2, and my slope is 1. Okay. And I'm going to draw. I only need 2 points for a line. And it's a little bit easier when your slope is 1. And so it's greater than, so I'm going to shade on this side. My drawing tool. Or I could use my highlighter tool and shade on this side. Oh, I made a mistake. Should have caught that. My line should not be solid. So let me fix that. Since that's a greater than, and it's not the equal under there, my line is solid. I mean, it's dotted. So let me try that again and do it right this time. And then I'm going to shade over here. You don't have to have a graph paper this big. I just happen to have that one. Okay. All right. So remember that line is dotted because there's no equal under there. Okay. Now this one, I'm going to have to put it in y-intercept form first. And I'm going to show you something a little tricky about this problem. I'm going to eventually have to end up dividing by a negative 1. And when you divide or multiply by a negative number when you're doing inequalities, something happens to your inequality sign. So I'm going to subtract 2x from each side, and I'm going to bring down my minus y equals, I put my variables first, negative 2x plus 4. Now, why couldn't I add those together? That 4 doesn't have an x. So now this is minus y, not equal to, less than. Okay, and then I'm going to divide everything by a negative 1. Okay, so y, that's going to be a positive y. Now I have to flip my inequality sign. That's the trick I was telling you about. So this is 2x, and then it's going to be minus 4. Okay, so that is my new equation. So here is my y-intercept. My slope is 2. And I'm just going to draw a little extra one. You only need 2 points, but I need to use this line tool, and it's a little tricky sometimes lining it up. You don't have to do any of these dots, just the first 2. But I just want my line straight. And again, this is a dashed line because I don't have an equal there. Now, where do we shade? We shade to the right. Let me do a little bit darker color here. So we're going to shade everything over in here is a solution. Okay. Now the next session, we're going to graph systems of equations. And you can slow this down anytime you're working on problems at home and you need to see how to do them. You can slow these down. Now, systems of equations are a little bit different, but still the same. So you're going to graph the two, not systems of equations, systems of inequalities. So you're going to graph the two inequalities and then shade, and where it overlaps, that is your solution. So let me do a little brighter. So my first equation is y is greater than 2x minus 2. So minus 2, 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1. And I'm just going to do a couple more points. So that I'm going to draw this line, and I'm going to make it pink also. If I can find it. Okay. And it's dashed because I don't have an equal there. So let me draw this line. No, it doesn't matter. And y is greater than 2x minus 2. I'm going to shade it over here in the greater than section. So it's going to shade over here. Okay. Now we have to graph our second line. Our second line is y is less than or equal to x plus 6. So our line this time is going to be solid. Let me go ahead and change that so I won't forget. So our line is going to be solid. So my y-intercept is at 6. And then my slope is 1. So up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. Wait a minute, I did something wrong. Yeah, I'm right. Up 1 over 1. It's going to keep going until I can get some overlap here. All right. I'm going to continue this line up because we're going to need it. You'll see why in just a second. I'm just making this original line a little bit longer. And I'm still doing the wrong thing here. Yeah, okay. And we're going to, let me shade it some more here. All right, I want my solution to show up good. Now let me draw the line for this next one. Since I have the equal to, it's going to be right there. It's going to be a solid line. So I'm going to draw this one. I'm just going to continue, go like that, and I'm going to extend it down this way. Okay, and this is less than, and I'm going to do a different color. So it's going to shade that way. So it looks like I just got this little area over here. Right here is my solution. Right here in this little part right here. That's where they both overlap. So that would be my solution. And so we're going to put an S right there. Let me make sure I did that right. -2. That's a positive slope. Up 2 and over 1. Up 2 and over 1. I'm checking my slope. Okay, and then my 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I could have drawn that line a little bit better. Let me fix that so it can look a little better. Okay, that's better. I didn't draw my line good at first. So right in here where it overlaps, that's going to be our solution right here where they overlap. So we'll put a big S right there. Okay? So that's our solution. So this one is y is greater. I don't know why my lines are still. Let me fix this. It's pulling up my. Well, no. Okay. I did something crazy. I don't know how I did that. Okay. So y is greater than x minus 5. Okay, I can graph that one easily. And in our other line, I'm going to have to put it in intercept form. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 2x from each side. And then divide everything by 2. So this second line is y is greater than negative x plus 2. Okay, so this one is x minus 5. And then my slope is 1. So that one should be easy to graph, and it's going to be like that. Okay, and y is greater than x minus 5. We're going to shade over here. And then my next one is y is greater than negative x plus 2, so that's 2. And then my slope is down 1 and over 1, so that's my slope there. And this is also still going to be a dotted line, dashed line. And it's greater than, so we're going to shade above it also. Okay, now there's overlap right here. You see that? Where it overlaps, that's your solution. So you just write a big old S for a solution. And if you're doing it with pencil, you can like have this going this way, and then you can have this one going that way, and then it'll show that it overlaps. So you can do it either way like that, but that's your solution to that system. Okay, the last set, minus x plus y is greater than or equal to a negative 3. I'm going to solve that one for y by adding x to both sides. So that one's going to be a solid line. And this next one, let me go ahead and graph that. Minus 3 and then 1, 1. And that's going to be a solid line. Let me do solid. And let me do black. And I did dashed. And we're greater than, so we're shading on this side. Okay, now my next line, 2x minus 3y is greater than negative 6. So that one's going to be a dashed line when we get back to it. I'm going to change it. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 2x from each side and then divide everything by negative 3. So that's going to flip my inequality that way. So this is going to be a positive 2/3. Divide that by negative 3, that's going to be a positive 2. So my y-intercept is 2. My slope is 2 over 3. So I go up 2 and over 3, up 2 and over 3. Yeah, negative 2 divided by negative 3. Let me go ahead and show that. Up 2 and over 1, 2, 3. Up 2 and over 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me draw my line. It's going to be dashed. And less than is going to be below the line. Let me draw this one on out. Less than is going to be below this line. Wait a minute, I did this wrong. This is greater than or equal to. So actually when it's, yeah, that's greater. No, it's going to be on top. It's kind of tricky. It just depends on which way your line is leaning. And since this is leaning this way, my greater than is going to be above the line. That's where y is increasing. Sorry about that. Now this is going to be less than, so it's going to be under this line. So right there where it overlaps, right in here, this area right in here is where your solution is at. I shaded that first line wrong. I apologize for that. It should be shaded above it, above the line. Okay, the last two are solving exponential functions. So this is 4 to the x minus 2 to the x. So you're going to put x, and then here's your f of x. And you can just pick a few points. I would do -1, 0, and 1. So this is going to be 4 to the -1 minus 2 to the -1, which is going to be, when you have a negative exponent, you drop it to the denominator, -1/2. And so this is going to be 1/4. You can do this on the calculator. Let me just do it on the calculator. Okay, so the answer is going to be -1/4. So this is going to be -1 minus 1/4. I'm going to work these up above here. Okay, when it's 0, that's an easy one. 4 to the 0 minus 2 to the 0. Any number to the 0 power is 1. So 1 minus 1. So when it's 0, f of x is 0. And now we're going to plug in 1. So 4 to the first power minus 2 to the first power. 4 to the first power is just 4. 2 to the first power is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. And all it said was, looks like solve, and it gave a few points. All right, so let's look at the second one. That's the exponential function. G of x equals 5 to the minus x. So whatever exponent we have there, it's got to be raised to the negative power. And the numbers we're using are 1, 2, and -1. So first we want to say 5 to the -1 power. So it's a negative exponent. So you drop that 5 to the first power to your denominator. So that's going to be 1/5. 5 to the -2. It's going to be 1 over 5 to the +2. So you drop it to the denominator and make it positive. 5 squared is 25. And then 5, when I plug in a -1, I'm going to have minus a -1, which is going to be +1. So that's simply equal to 5. And that's all the problems. You can rewind the video if you need to.